5 things God does after he steps in that most people don't notice. When God finally says now, everything begins to move. Doors open, answers come, and what once felt impossible starts falling into place. But that moment is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a new one. Many people stop after the miracle, thinking the lesson is finished, when in reality, God has only just begun to work in a deeper way. After God steps in, his work doesn't slow down, it changes direction. He starts shaping who you're becoming inside the blessing. He begins to protect what he just gave you, to teach you how to carry it, and to use you to reach others. If we only celebrate what happened and never notice what he's doing next, we'll miss the full purpose of his intervention. Sometimes what God does after the breakthrough is even more important than the breakthrough itself. He refines character, deepens faith, and builds endurance for the next chapter. The same God who answered your prayer now wants to grow you through it. So today we're going to talk about 5 things God does after he steps in. Quiet, powerful things that most people overlook. Because when you understand what he's still doing, you'll stop seeing the miracle as a finish line and start seeing it as a doorway into something greater. Part 1. He redefines who you are. When God steps in, he never leaves you the same. He doesn't just fix what was broken or restore what was lost. He changes who you are in the process. Sometimes the greatest miracle isn't the one around you. It's the one inside you. And often, it happens quietly, after the noise of the breakthrough fades. Think about Jacob. For most of his life, he tried to earn what God had already promised. He deceived, he ran, he wrestled with people and with fear. But one night, God stepped in. They wrestled until daybreak, and in that moment, Jacob received a new name. Israel. He walked away with a limp, but also with a new identity. His struggle didn't make him weaker. It marked him as someone who had seen God and been changed forever. That's what divine intervention does. It redefines you. Many of us can relate to that. Maybe you spent years chasing approval or success, thinking that would give you peace, and then God stepped in. Not to make you more impressive, but to make you more free. He stripped away the old labels. Failure, not enough, forgotten. He called you something new, chosen, capable, loved. That shift may not come with fireworks, but it changes the way you walk through the world. You no longer live for validation. You live from identity. Sometimes God's redefining work comes in unexpected ways. A job loss that once felt like humiliation becomes the doorway to discovering your real calling. A relationship that ended painfully becomes the mirror that helps you see your worth. You start realizing that the person who entered the waiting season is not the same person who came out of it. God was not just preparing the blessing. He was preparing you to carry it. I've seen this happen in people who didn't even notice the transformation until much later. A friend once told me, "I used to pray for God to change my situation, but now I see he was changing me." That's the heart of this truth. When he steps in, he does more than answer prayers. He rewrites stories. He heals the way you think, the way you respond, the way you see yourself. And that inner work becomes the foundation for everything he does next. Maybe lately you've sensed this happening inside you. The same things that once triggered you don't have the same power anymore. You handle disappointment differently. You speak with more peace than panic. Those aren't small changes. They're signs that God has redefined you from within. The outside may look the same, but your spirit has matured. You're no longer reacting, you're resting. If you've ever wondered why God took so long to answer, remember this. He was shaping someone who could live on the other side of the answer. The blessing you carry will only last if the person carrying it is grounded. So let him finish that quiet work. Let him tell you who you are now. Write it down if you need to. Ask him, Lord, what name do you call me today? Because when he redefines you, that name becomes your new strength. And once you know who you are in him, no change around you can shake the peace within you. Part 2. He protects what he just gave you. When God answers a prayer, we often want to tell everyone we're excited, grateful, overflowing with joy. But sometimes, right after the miracle, God leads us into quietness instead of celebration. It's not punishment, it's protection. He knows that every new blessing needs time to grow roots before it faces the wind. Think of how he guarded the birth of Jesus. The angel warned Joseph in a dream to take Mary and the child to Egypt. It wasn't a glamorous season. It was hiding, waiting, trusting. But in that hidden place, God was protecting his promise. What he had just given to the world was too precious to be exposed too soon. The same is true for us. When God gives you something new, a restored marriage, a new opportunity, a healing, a fresh calling, he often shields it in silence until it's strong enough to stand. Many people misunderstand that quiet period. They think the momentum stopped, or that something went wrong. But often, it's God building a fence of peace around what he just planted. He keeps certain people away, closes some doors you thought should stay open, and even lets things slow down so your heart can catch up. It can feel confusing, especially when you're ready to run ahead. But God knows timing better than we do. He is protecting the miracle from pressure and pride. I remember talking with a woman who had prayed for years to reconcile with her daughter. One day the daughter called. They cried, apologized, and began again. But then weeks of silence followed. The mother panicked, thinking she had lost her chance. Yet in that silence, God was softening both hearts, giving them space to rebuild trust. Today their bond is stronger than ever. God wasn't ignoring them. He was protecting what he had just healed. Sometimes he protects by keeping things quiet at work. You get a new opportunity, but the promotion doesn't come right away. He's teaching you to walk humbly before he lets others see your rise. Or maybe you finally feel peace after a storm, and suddenly life feels slower than you expected. That's his mercy, giving your soul time to rest before new responsibility begins. If you sense God slowing you down right after a breakthrough, don't resist it. The same God who opened the door knows how to guard what's behind it. The pause is not a delay. It's a divine covering. He's saying, let me hold this for you while it settles. His protection may look like stillness, but it's full of purpose. So instead of asking, why is everything so quiet now? Ask, Lord, what are you securing for me? Trust that he sees threats you don't, and he's already working to keep your blessings safe. Some of the most powerful seasons of your life will be the ones no one sees. The moments when God wraps his hands around what he just gave you and whispers, rest, it's growing. And when the time is right, he'll reveal it again, stronger, deeper, and ready to last. Part 3. He teaches you how to steward the miracle. When God steps in and answers prayer, that's not the end of responsibility. It's the beginning of stewardship. Every miracle, every open door, every new season comes with a quiet invitation. Will you take care of what I've given you? God doesn't bless us just to make life easier. He blesses us to teach us how to carry more with wisdom and grace. Joseph's story is a perfect example. One day he was a prisoner, and the next he was second in command of Egypt. But the real miracle wasn't the throne. It was the wisdom to handle it. God didn't just promote Joseph. He trained him through years of managing small things, so that when the nation needed him, he could manage much. The same God who brings sudden elevation also teaches steady discipline, because without discipline, the miracle won't last. I've met people who learned this firsthand. A man prayed for financial breakthrough. God opened the door, and his income doubled. But soon he realized that blessing also required learning, budgeting, generosity, and integrity. What used to be a quick prayer for provision became a new lifestyle of stewardship. Another woman prayed for God to give her a ministry opportunity. When it came, she discovered the real test wasn't speaking well. It was managing time, caring for people, staying humble when results came fast. The miracle is exciting, but the management of it is what keeps it meaningful. This is how God works. He gives you more than you can handle, so you'll learn to handle more through Him. That's why some seasons after a breakthrough feel stretching. He's teaching you structure, focus, and reliance. The same hands that performed the miracle are now shaping your habits. And though it can feel uncomfortable, it's His way of building maturity. If God has recently answered a prayer for you, start asking different questions. Instead of, "Why did you bless me?" Ask, "How do you want me to use this?" Instead of, "Can I keep this forever?" Ask, "How do I honor you with it today?" Those small shifts turn blessings into assignments. You stop clinging to results and start managing responsibility with purpose. You might feel Him challenging you right now. Maybe He's asking you to give when you thought you should save, to serve when you thought you could rest, or to share the platform you just received. That's not loss, that's leadership. God doesn't grow you by comfort. He grows you by trust. When He teaches stewardship, He's training your spirit to think like heaven does. Faithful with little, faithful with much. Take a moment to reflect. What has God recently placed in your hands? Is it peace after a long battle, a new opportunity, a restored relationship? Whatever it is, pray simply, "Lord, show me how to handle this your way." Then listen. He'll begin to teach you through small nudges. What to prioritize, when to rest, when to act. And as you follow His guidance, you'll notice something beautiful. The blessing no longer feels heavy. It becomes light again, because you're no longer carrying it alone. You're carrying it with Him. Part 4. He uses you to bless others. When God steps into your story, He never means for the miracle to end with you. He blesses you to make you a blessing. The grace that changed your life is meant to flow through you into someone else's. That's how His kingdom works. What He gives never stays still. It moves, multiplies, and touches lives beyond your own. The woman at the well is a perfect picture of this. One encounter with Jesus transformed her heart. And what did she do next? She ran back to her town and told everyone, "Come, see a man who told me everything I ever did." Her story became a bridge for others to find Him. God didn't just heal her shame. He turned her into a messenger of hope. That's what He wants to do with you. The miracle that changed you becomes the testimony that changes others. I've seen this happen in quiet, everyday ways. A man who once battled anxiety now prays with coworkers who feel overwhelmed. A single mother who experienced God's provision now mentors other women who are struggling. A business owner who once went bankrupt now teaches others how to rebuild with faith instead of fear. None of them set out to be heroes. They simply shared what God had already done for them. Their scars became stories, and their stories became light. You don't have to be a preacher to be a vessel. You just have to be available. Sometimes the most powerful ministry happens in ordinary moments. A conversation over coffee, a message sent at the right time, a word of encouragement that lifts someone's day. The same comfort God gave you in the valley is the comfort He now wants you to give away. He doesn't waste pain or victory. He recycles both into purpose. Maybe you're wondering, but what if I'm not ready to help others? You don't have to have everything figured out. Start with honesty. Share what God taught you, even if you're still learning it. People don't need your perfection. They need your authenticity. When you talk about what God has done, even in small ways, it reminds them that He's still working in their story too. So ask yourself, who around me might need the encouragement I once needed? Pray for God to show you one person this week. It might be a friend, a neighbor, or even a stranger. Then take a small step. Send a text, make a call, offer a prayer. You'll be amazed at how naturally grace flows when you open your hands. This is one of the greatest joys of walking with God. You realize that your miracle was never meant to be a monument. It was meant to be a movement. And the moment you start sharing what He's done, you become part of His ongoing work in the world. The same God who stepped into your life is now stepping through your life to reach others, and that's when the miracle truly multiplies. Part 5. He keeps writing your story forward. When God steps in, we often think the story has reached its peak. The prayer was answered, the season finally changed, the waiting is over. But with God, there's never a full stop, only a new chapter. Every breakthrough is a beginning. Every answered prayer opens the door to another layer of purpose. The same hand that delivered you now starts guiding you into what's next. Think about Elijah and Elisha. When Elijah's time was done, his mantle fell to Elisha, and a new story began. God didn't let His work end with one man. He passed the mission forward. That's how He writes, continuously, generationally, eternally. What He starts in one season, He continues through another. And often, when you think He's finished with you, He's actually preparing to use you in a deeper way. This is where many people lose focus. After the excitement of a miracle fades, they stop expecting God to move again. They start living as if the best days are behind them, but that's never how God works. He doesn't just step in once to prove a point. He steps in repeatedly to keep growing your story. He's not done teaching, leading, or surprising you. What He finished yesterday becomes the foundation for what He's building today. I've seen this in the lives of people who thought their purpose had already peaked. A retired teacher started a small Bible study that grew into a community outreach. A couple who survived a hard marriage now lead a group helping others find healing. A man who overcame addiction became a mentor for those still fighting. God took what seemed like an ending and turned it into expansion. That's how He writes. He turns survivors into storytellers and victories into new beginnings. Maybe you're in a season that feels calm after a storm. Don't mistake peace for completion. Peace is preparation. God is already arranging the next step, the next open door, the next assignment that fits who you've become. He never stops creating, and He never stops inviting you to walk further with Him. Your story isn't running out, it's unfolding. If you've ever wondered what to do after God changes everything, the answer is simple. Stay available. Keep your heart open. Ask Him daily, what are you writing next? Some days He'll whisper direction. Other days He'll just give peace. But both are signs. He's still holding the pen. The miracle wasn't meant to make you settle. It was meant to move you forward. God's work in you is ongoing, and His faithfulness doesn't expire once the storm clears. So keep walking. Keep trusting. Keep saying yes, because the author of your life is still writing, and the best chapters are never the ones behind you. They're the ones still being written through your obedience today. Conclusion. When God steps into your story, it changes everything. But that moment is only the beginning. What He started with one breakthrough, He continues through a lifetime of transformation. He doesn't just fix problems. He builds people. He refines your heart, protects what he's given, teaches you to carry it wisely, uses you to lift others, and keeps writing your story forward. Every season after his intervention is full of meaning, because he never leaves what he begins unfinished. Maybe you've seen his hand already. He's answered prayers, opened doors, healed what was broken. Now he's inviting you to live differently, not as someone who once received a miracle, but as someone who walks with the miracle maker every day. That's how faith matures. You start seeing his fingerprints, not only in the big moments, but in the quiet ones too. In the conversations, the choices, the routines where his grace keeps showing up. So don't stop at gratitude. Step into partnership. Let him keep shaping you, guiding you, and working through you. Because when God steps in, he doesn't step out. He stays with purpose, with presence, with promise. And if you keep walking with him, you'll see that the story he's writing through your life is still unfolding, one chapter of grace at a time.